Okay, so this is part 2 of talking about how to spice up your blues progression. So we got blues in the key of B, in the 1-4-5. And that's where I left off, was using this chord, which is actually a tritone substitution of this chord. And what that really is about, in the briefest words, the fewest words possible, is taking dominant seventh that's, clearly the 5 chord of this progression, 1-4-5, taking that dominant seventh shape and moving the root a tritone. And the crazy thing about it is that by doing that, you actually cause the third. Let me back up, let me make this clear, because it's really quite simple if you just see it. While this is the root, this is the third, and this is the seventh. Don't pay that much attention to this right now. These are the really important notes as far as what makes this a dominant seventh, because the definition of a dominant seventh is a major chord. There's the major note with a minor seventh. Of course, that's a seventh because this is the 8th, the octave of that. And to have it be a major seventh would put the seventh here, but this is a minor seventh. So, if we move this a tritone, strangely, what we end up with is this is the seventh and this is the third. Another way to look at it, if we put the octave over here, then we would have basically this. So it's basically like going. And so that's a tritone substitution. And my gift to you so far is to tell you to take that 5 chord of the blues progression and replace it with that. And your bass player, if he's used to only playing, regular blues, will be very interesting to find out that his new job is to hit the turnaround 1/2 step above the 1 chord. So the next step in this is to let's see, the best way, rather than try to explain it all to you, I think I'll just first advise you that you can get away with moving this dominant 7th chord up 3. So you, with your eye, pay attention to just one frame of reference. You can move it up there, and at the same time, to keep this all in perspective, you have to understand how fun it will be, especially if you're super bored of the regular 1-4-5 blues sound, to solo over these chords. So you're only going to understand and enjoy the full potential of this if you try soloing over it. So you're going. There I used a different chord, which I will get to, I think, a little later. I'm going to save, I don't want to confuse the issue yet. But so let's regroup here now, because I'm losing my focus by introducing that other chord. We got this dominant 7th, and we move up, and of course you'll notice that this dominant 7th looks a little different, but the part that really makes it a dominant 7th is this piece. Okay, so, and we can go up 3. And you really should try soloing over that to get the full appreciation. So now the question is, why does this pinky stick out here on the original one, but when we go up I tuck the pinky in here, and when I do it again I go up 3, always looking at this rather than some other finger and get all confused. I'm going to move there, and so basically we've got 3 in a row, and then these 2 on both of these chords. So here we go again. think it's safe to say that a lot of the stuff you hear in, like, I don't know, funk and soul or whatever, I'm not sure what genre uses horns, but you know, James Brown type stuff, with the horn is like doing those blasting moments. A lot of times it's these intervals, these notes that the horns are. So, we've got this, and the question was, why does this stick out here, and then when we move up to here, it scoots back in? And I think the only way to really understand it is to, if you mapped out all the naturally occurring, and right now, of course, it's a blues situation, which is, can be rather confusing because you can actually treat the home chord like, you know, like it's like Aeolian mode or Dorian mode or Mixolydian. I mean, there's all these different treatments you can give that's the beauty of blues, but it's also an area that can cause confusion. But I'm going to pretend it's a regular minor scale. So if I map that out, if you actually colored in all the notes on the fretboard, you would see that when you play in this position, these two notes are already in the scale. When you play up higher in a higher position, so when you're here, you don't want to hit this note and this note because they'd be like the black keys on the piano if you were playing in all white keys. And then if you go up again, these notes would be good, whereas these two wouldn't be good, because that's the scale. So you'd actually be hitting bad notes if you hit those two. So the answer to why does the pinky utilize these notes, and then when you hear they're all tucked underneath, it's because of the pre-existing, you know, good notes in the scale. Doesn't mean you can't push the envelope and do, you know, if you feel like it, go ahead. But you're more apt to upset the ear, to find dissonance with maybe somebody else in the band. If there's a singer hitting a note and you go over here and hit this, if the singer happens to be hitting this one, that note might cause dissonance. But basically, my real gift to you, without making it too complicated, is you're playing in this key and you can get away with this for the turnaround, and in that moment you can actually move up, or just skip that one completely and use this as your turnaround. So likewise, you could use, let's go up even higher, and you get up 3 more, and now I'm using the original where the pinky's not tucked underneath this note, and that's because of the pre-existing notes. In fact, this is B, if I'm not mistaken. So in other words, by getting up here, it's the equivalent of going here. So in other words, we could do